Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Quantum Lounge, a group that meet once a week on the internet and talk about everything quantum, which includes spirituality, law of attraction, energy, frequency, quantum physics. And so we talk about very interesting things. And tonight's topic is, how do we get out of the program? What is the program, you may ask? A program is something that happens to you from birth because the subconscious mind, especially as a child, downloads everything. So if you're surrounded by people saying this and doing that, that becomes part of your program and it becomes part of your life until you start to understand that you are in that program. And there are lots of modalities to deprogram you, but it does take self-awareness and to first understand, look down the rabbit hole, look for information of what that is and how we can clear them programs. So we're going to start with anyone who'd like to talk about the topic, and we'll stick to the topic and we'll go around if anyone would like to share anything.
I'll start off. I think the example I would use is if we were born in Roman times, we're born, let's say, in an Indian tribe. Century, although I was born in the last century. And we have TV, we have radio, we go to school where we get marked. You're 60%, you're 70%, whatever. And our parents also, you should do this, you should do that. Why don't you smarten up? Why don't you use your head? And we try to fit in, we try to adapt to all of that, but it's outside programming. And awakening in consciousness, you realize, hey, it's not about other people. It's not about fitting in or marching to their drum, but rather, what about the inside? What about my spiritual expression? What am I expressing? Who am I? And the answer to that is, I am life expressing through this particular body, mind, and heart. And once you realize that, then there's no ego anymore. It's not personal anymore. I am life. So powerful, so wonderful, so neutral. I am life. And when you realize that, you have a lot to give. You break the programming, you break the story of what happened between birth and now. It doesn't mean a damn thing because there's only now. Those were moments in time. We are now in the present moment where life is. We blink now, we listen now, we drink in the present. So it's a matter of being present, letting life express through you. So who else would like to take the floor?
Jane.
Oh, Jane, you gonna go?
Well, I think you wanted to go, Rob, go ahead.
Okay, Alan, yeah, everything you said right there was really great. And the things that stood out for me was use your head. And I was raised with that, like my whole life. That's what, and I remember specifically my father saying that to me, use your head, And now that I'm 40, I'll be 41 soon. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm just now starting to really learn to use my heart. And I think that at certain points in our life we do. And that's when we kind of come to, a fork in the road, and it's like you said, do you want to fit in or do you want to go your own way? And sometimes, using your head, you want to fit in, but using your heart, there's something that doesn't feel right about this. I got to go do me, or I got to go do something different. And just because everybody's doing it doesn't mean I should be doing it. And for myself personally, although try not to get stuck with the story, but just to relate experience, it was getting out of the church program, leaving the Catholic Church, being in grade 8, being one of the only of about 100 kids in all our grade 8 classes that decided not to be confirmed. And I went through I got a lot of flack from the church, from my school, from my parents. And that was the first time where I said, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not this. And, you know, finally they all came to acceptance, and, you know, I went there to support my friends, but I said, there's something about this doesn't feel right in my heart. And just because everybody else is doing it doesn't mean I'm going to do it. And that was the first time that, you know, I decided consciously that I wanted to break from a program. And as we've talked about before, there's different levels of programming. You know, there's societal, cultural, educational, familial. And so, you know, a lot of the things that pull us away from our heart and our head, and we do things out of obligation, out of trying to be people pleasing, trying to, you know, if you come from a separated family, you're trying to be a diplomat between your parents or both sides of the family and this and that. And so much can take us out of our peace. So how do we be here in the now, be neutral, like you said, and let go of the story, right? Because it's recorded in our body, it's in our epigenetic recording system. We're so identified with our own identity and what's happened to me and this and my story. And it's great to tell stories here and there, and so we can relate our experiences and see that we're not alone in this journey. But a lot of the times we get it, like Eckhart Tolle says, mental movie making, right? Where we're not in the present moment, we're not out there enjoying life, doing something physical. We're stuck in the mind, thinking about how we're going to explain this or justify ourselves, or how we're going to, you know, let somebody down because we don't really want to go do it, but we feel obligated. So getting out of the program, there's a lot of programs you got to get out of in a lot of ways. And I think it's a step process. So go easy on yourself, because as one guy recently I heard saying, we're overcoming thousands of years of conditioning, and it's embedded with it not only in our family history, but in our bodies as well, like genetically. So, you know, we search a lot of times in the outside world for the answers, and we come to realize, I think, after a long time, that they're all within us. But as one of the sayings goes, we just have to be quiet enough to hear it. And that means getting out of our head and into our heart. And with that, I'll pass it on to the next person.
Okay, I'll go next. So to me, program is something that you're not even thinking, it's not even the mind. It's almost like you see something and you automatically will just behave and react without awareness. So you see something and somebody's hurt, and because you've been programmed to laugh and somebody falls or whatever, you're not even thinking. It's like a direct reaction. And the moment you become aware of your reaction or your automatic, almost automatic reaction, you're in a program. But once you're aware, we can step back, because I think all of us, whether we want to admit it or not, we're all part of God, and we all have a heart. And as tough or not as tough as we can be, we are all compassionate beings. If we're human beings, we are compassionate, and our heart has a high vibration. So we can always feel people when they're hurt. When you make fun of somebody, like, there is your consciousness, whether you might react with your program and laugh or be judgmental, but all of us have this consciousness within us where we know inside of us, well, I didn't say the right thing, but you said the wrong thing, because you're programmed. It's like an automatic reaction. So I believe self-awareness is extremely important. And to break the program, I do 100% believe that we need to work on it, because what fires together, wires together. So we've been wired up to constantly behave a certain way. But if you've got that self-awareness in you, and it's a lot of work, just being self-aware, stopping and breaking that program by doing something different is the only way to really almost get out of the program and create more of a heart space, or live from awareness. Because when you're aware of the godliness in people, you're aware of life, and you're aware of love. So to me, program can immediately be deleted once awareness comes into existence.
Thanks, Jane. Yeah,
Welcome.
I totally agree. And we'll use the example of driving the car. or riding a bike. When you first learn to drive a car, especially if it's a standard as well, there's so much. Put your foot on the clutch, put into first gear, gradually let your foot off the clutch, put your foot in the accelerator, same thing into second gear, third gear. And then after a year, or the more you do it without even thinking. And how many people drive somewhere and you don't even realize you know where you're going, and you just get there because you do it because of the what fires together wires together, as Jane said. You've done it so often that becomes second nature to you. The only problem is with that, within them programs, they're the same. All the programs are the same because the subconscious mind runs the body. It runs the whole, it runs you. So unless you start to become self-aware, as Jane said, and it's not an easy thing to do because it's easy to be sucked out of it because the world, there's this and there's that, and there's programs everywhere, you know, you read a book, whatever, you listen to the radio, we're getting programmed here, there, and everywhere. So it does take a lot of work to become focused in the moment. The only moment there is the now. And when you're in the now, you're not living in the subconscious mind. You're living in the conscious mind. When you're just doing stuff, most of the stuff you do, it's the program. You might have been in a good program, but most people have been in a program that you're not enough. And judgment and triggers and gossip. And once we've spoke about vibrations in them, certain energies, there's a low frequency, but you can raise your vibration by becoming self.
Can't hear you.
We lost your
you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where was he up to?
Good programs and bad programs.
Yeah, so there's good programs and bad programs. A lot of us have been brought up with bad programs that we're not good enough. And we spoke about the vibrations. Everything's a vibration. When you're negative, every word that you speak is a vibration. Every thought that you think, as Rob said before, we play movies in our mind. And the insanity about that is, we think that it's who we are. We think we're that. But they're just the thoughts. They're just a regurgitation of what we've heard. It's part of the program. So when you catch yourself saying, oh, I can't do that, or why did they do that? When you become aware, oh, I'm judging again, right at that moment, you become conscious again. The more you practice that, the more you'll catch yourself, and you'll find you won't be saying, do this or do that, or do this or do that, or don't do this or don't do that, because everyone's different. Of course, if someone's going to hit you, you'll say, don't do that. But unless, live your life, take your power back, because while you're judging, you're disempowered. While you're triggered by anything, you're disempowered. You're part of the program. And most people haven't. It's when you become self-aware that you're in the program, that's when you can get out of the program.
So I want to go ahead and touch on what you and Rob were both just talking about, specifically the not feeling enough. And I feel like what programming has been for my life, if I take a look back, has consistently been compare yourself to somebody else and always chase more. And I feel like that is the program, right? Like whether it's through social media, whether it's through people, whether it's through TV, whatever the case may be, it is constantly, I am supposed to do this in my life. I'm supposed to make more money. I'm supposed to climb this ladder. I'm supposed to do all of these things. And what I have found throughout my process, even though I am very early in this, is the only thing that gets in the way of me being okay with me is either thinking about what I've done or thinking about what I'm supposed to do. And for me, that is the programming, right? And all of that stuff are just things that I do or things that I have done that have no relevance to who I actually am. So for me, it's this process, and I heard this really cool analogy the other day when I was talking to someone else in my field of work, that she referred to people being born into the world as precious, right? Like when we're born into this world, there is no negativity, there is no negative thought, there is no societal influence. We are just perfect beings. And that throughout our process, the programming is all this stuff that gets in the way of that blocks me off from seeing the truth. So for me, this process has been more of discovering who and what I'm not as a means to find who I actually am. And I just, again, want to thank this group and just this process in general. It is a really, really enlightening, empowering, incredible journey to be on. And I feel so blessed to be able to do this now and not have to go through more useless suffering for no reason.
I just thank you, Ethan. That was lovely. I'd just like to add another thing as well. Depending on where you're born on planet Earth, you will have a certain program. You will like certain groups of people in different parts of the world, although you've never met them, but you'll dislike other people in parts of the world. You haven't met them neither because of history, as Jane said, his story, what we've been told. Or you might believe in Jesus, or you might believe in Buddha, or you might believe in Krishna. And some people will even die for their belief system. And I would just like to say there's one God. They're all pointers to that God. But it's not just religion, it can be nationality, and certain the groups get together and that mob program then comes into play. And it causes havoc on our planet. We see it playing out in the world now. But once we can all come to a realization that we're all the same, but we've had programs depending where we were born. And we can get rid of that program. We are just consciousness. We all believe in God, or most people, they say, that they believe in God and they believe in His soul. But to me, we are in a time of the most incredible time in the history of human race, where we're understanding what the great masters have been telling us. We are all connected. Quantum physics is proven we're all connected. And we do have a power, as Jesus and Buddha and Krishna all pointed to. Pray like it's already been done, and it will be added unto you. That is a law of attraction. That is known. That's having a vibration. Talk about vibration. But it all goes hand in hand. You'll probably notice that all the things we talk about, although they're different shades of the whole, they all point to the same thing, that you are the power. And there's ways of bringing that power out, shining your light. And this is one of them. Getting rid of them programs and understanding that no matter what color someone is, not what nationality, what religion they follow, we're all the same. And we're all powerful beings. And right now is the time to truly not know it, but to live it. And we have a choice.
I just wanted to jump in there if that's okay.
Yes,
so a lot of very
absolutely.
Thank you. A lot of very interesting things. So talking about the programming that we have, and from the moment of our birth, there's already a program there, right? So you're already based on your nationality, your gender, all that sort of stuff. There's already a program from the moment of when you're born. And as children, we're sponges. We pick up on everything, and that's when all that typical programming tends to happen. And so the question that I think might be on some listeners' mind is, what are some steps I can do I know I have a program. I'm aware that I'm consciousness. I'm aware that there's something I need to change. I think most people would get there, or that there's something that's trying to keep that program going, whatever that happens to be, television, whatever. But I think perhaps people would ask, what are some tools and techniques I can use to start shifting that program? And so you've talked about the awareness of our formed habits. right? Because that personality is developed just through the things that we typically do, the things that are associative. They're not a cognitive task for us. It's the things that we typically do that we don't even think that we're doing. We just move through the motions of doing. Like I think you gave the example of driving, right? When you've driven to that same location, let's say it's that same job you've been going to for a year, nobody needs to tell you how to get there. You're on automatic pilot, right? It's an associative task. So picking up on that thread in our daily life of, okay, there it is, I just caught myself, and just bringing lots of love to yourself. Like, I need to bring that back. The understanding that, you know, the other person is us, but also the creator and the creation are one, right? So understanding that piece there, just having that compassion for yourself, that love for yourself, wherever you are in that journey is super important. Because once we go into that judgment, I did this, or I did not achieve this, or I'm not good enough, or I'm not lovable, whatever that program tends to be, really, I think the only way to come back to that brain and heart coherence is to move through with lots of compassion and love.
Thank you, Anne.
Lovely.
That was beautiful. And I know that you work in that field, as does Jane. And if anyone wants to reach out, please do. I'm a big fan of Joe Dispenza and his work, and it is work to release programs. But thank you for bringing that up, Anne, because there is a way to do it, but it takes work. And so with that, sorry, who's Jane?
Sorry, I was just going to say, yeah. So it's good. Maybe like you're mentioning Joe Dispenza for somebody who might not know where to say, where can I get some help? What can I do? Maybe is there a book to read? Is there a you know, that would be one. And there's so many beautiful meditations and, you know, people who you know are out there that would be of good facilitation. So there's many. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, Anne. And thank you, guys. And just to let everyone know, that these are a group of people from all walks of life and regular people who are doing the work, understanding who they are at their essence and taking their power back, as you can too. So, my friend, we'll see you the same time, same back channel next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.